We have an unwavering faith in technology as being the only means to run our business. But sourcing the right high-tech solution is just as important and often as elusive as finding the right employee. We must also be realistic about technological promises. Spotify's algorithm once suggested that I take a break from Ozzy Osbourne and have a listen to some Fleetwood Mac. This only confirmed what Douglas Adams once said: technology is a word that describes something that doesn't work yet. Hi Heidi and hi Brent.
Hello.
So a little bit of a shift this time. We're moving over to tech.
We left with the teaser last week, steady as she goes. And it's always one of these back and forth discussions around when do you put the big money into updating your IT systems?
Right.
People always think that steady as she goes is the safe approach, when actually steady as she goes can be high risk.
Absolutely.
It's a real touchy issue. And we just had something in the UK, which probably because I'm an unhappy or evil person, I thought was hilarious. We do know that the British, there have been some interesting reports that have come out of the British government saying that I believe it was they spend $500 million a year maintaining IT systems that are fully obsolete.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
They have their own issues. And the most recent one that came up that is just darkly hilarious is that the budget came together with how are we going to respond to the cost of living crisis, which is quite serious and is desperately impacting people on a serious day-to-day issue. And the person who decides the budget in the UK wanted to up cost of living increases by, I think it was 7%. And he was told by the IT shop, no, you can't do that. The system doesn't allow you to do that.
Oh, what? So it's built into the IT software not to allow cost of living increases?
It allows for an annual cost of living allowance increase. Okay. But he wanted to do a one-off, as many governments are looking at. How do we help the people most in need that are receiving benefits? Let's raise their benefits so they can survive through this.
And the software just wouldn't allow that to happen.
No, it's too complex and too difficult to do it more than once a year.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when you think about IT systems, it used to be an organization would physically own hardware. Very few organizations own hardware. So by putting everything into the cloud, they have saved exponentially a lot of money.
Yep.
But if it doesn't give you the freedom to do what you want to do, is that savings actually of value? Or are you running a $500 million a year budget to run systems that are no longer used just because there's data there? There's so much wrong with IT is supposed to solve all our problems. Technology is supposed to be the solution. And what it has done is it has caused different problems as opposed to solving all of our problems. And we shouldn't expect it to solve all our problems. But
those problems are growing. You know, once everything's in the cloud, then we've got to protect it from being hacked, ransomware, and all these other things. So the problem's only getting bigger. But governments are notoriously crap at IT.
Yeah. That's why I like the idea of the proverbial sell-by date. If you started a project and you started a technology and it does not meet the objectives, get rid of it, move on. Or if you've had it for so long, make sure it's still actually useful for you.
And I see this, and this didn't come into my mind until we started this discussion. And you're certainly correct that governments in general are crapola at IT. We can go back and look at the rollout of Obamacare here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But to a certain extent, I don't think it's governments alone. I think it's human beings.
Right.
Because we keep telling people, buy a house, save money, it's cheaper. Failing to tell people, once you buy that house, you not only have your mortgage payment, you also have to pay to maintain the roof, or replace the roof, or replace the furnace. Yeah. It's this human tendency to say, well, I bought something expensive. That's sufficient, isn't it?
And I guess you go out to an IT solution company and you're guaranteed to get a very expensive quote for whatever the system is. And in their defense, managing government is not a straightforward algorithm. Tax alone is so multifaceted, multi-leveled. I mean, any facet of government is not going to be satisfied by an off-the-shelf product.
No.
I mean, and it's true for businesses as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many collaboration softwares we have, yet we still don't have effective collaboration in organizations.
I think that there may be something. We're big on this statement of change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Okay.
And maybe part of our problem is less the technology itself, but our perception thereof. When you look at things like that house buying example, it's expensive, it has to last me for a long time. Maybe we should stop looking at IT as that big buy and start looking at it like apps, because functionality and the needs change so quickly nowadays. Maybe we need to be looking at the technology we use in the office more like apps rather than the backbone of our company, to get ourselves out of this cycle of being a slave to something that is outdated.
Yeah. I always think of how Microsoft Office used to work. Back in the days when you would buy a CD, year upon year, to entice you to spend more money, they would add more and more features. And then suddenly a product like Google Docs, which I'm not recommending to anyone because I'm not a great Google fan, but a very simplistic set of Office tools comes along and people are using it. What that really says is what Microsoft was putting into their products was probably completely irrelevant to the majority of users. Yet those people would have to navigate around all of those features in a very inefficient way to get to the ones that they want.
That is true whether you're, and I will not throw any technology platforms under the bus, but we have numerous clients who play the slave to overly baroque platforms that don't essentially do what they need.
Right.
And we have the other side where they're grasping at the newest app and they end up using 16 different types of app to do one thing because they're always grabbing for the newest solution.
Is it instinctive for us to look at these apps as being the savior? This is instantly going to speed this process up.
I think you said instantly, and that's part of the answer. We like instant answers and instant gratification.
Right.
In business, in life.
Yeah.
It's human behavior. We want it simple, so we're looking for a simple solution.
Okay.
Problem is we're looking for a simple solution in a complex environment.
Right.
And those two don't really work well together. It's that paradox.
And I think that one of the really fascinating pieces that kind of emerges out of this discussion is there's a lot of emotional and irrational decision-making that's driving our choices about something that should be about business requirements and technical capabilities. And that's where a lot of the messiness is happening here.
So when you come into a company and you're doing your due diligence, how do you spot if there's inefficiencies in the IT side? What should people listening to this who run their own businesses be aware of if IT is actually failing them rather than serving them?
I think some of the basic ones are errors. Are errors being made and caught? Is work having to be done more than once?
Are there workarounds? What sorts of bizarre workarounds? And how truthfully is feedback being taken? We were working in South Korea with a tech platform that had been installed because the logistics center in Switzerland told them it was the best thing.
Oh, okay.
And in South Korea, to operate this platform, one interaction with it took 10 minutes, where Switzerland was telling them, no, that's not possible. That can't be true. And we're standing behind the operator in South Korea going, nope, it's true.
I got a wonderful video of that.
Yeah, we ended up having to shoot video of it, send it to Switzerland and go, here's your database line.
Wow.
And the actual answer was the infrastructure in South Korea in this particular area/building did not have the capabilities of functioning fast enough for a large clouded logistics software.
Yeah.
Right.
Switzerland was right. No, this shouldn't happen. South Korea was right. This is happening.
Yeah.
And then in between there was the answer.
Yeah.
Do you think we become over-reliant on this technology? You know, it's about analyzing every facet of our organizations in such minute detail, in collecting all these metrics, that we might actually just become a little bit blinkered by the amount of data, when in reality, if we're doing the right thing, it's the profits going up. That's the true sign that things are great.
You're kind of digging into the first question we always ask clients, which is, what is the purpose of what you do here as a company? What do you produce?
Right.
And it is fascinating how many people cannot tell you that and how many systems are not aligned with that.
Whoa,
and that
okay.
comes back to the core question of what we do, which is also a core evaluator of every IT system. What are you supposed to be producing here?
Right.
And do these activities support that?
I guess the final point then is, if you see that happening, what do you say to someone? Get rid of the software? Get a different IT consultant?
There's a lot of variables in there in that question, because it really is looking at,
Right, of course. Yeah.
Can you align your processes and the technology to work effectively? Quite possibly. Are there things you can do to train the people to use the software correctly? Quite possibly.
Yeah.
But if 6 people are telling you the company does 6 different things, then there's a bigger problem than just IT and process.
No, absolutely. Well, I mean, I could geek out on this subject all day, but I'm not going to. So what do we have to look forward to next week?
Let's learn some human resources basics from the Russian military.
Oh, my word.
You can learn from almost anything.
Well, I look forward to that. So have a great week, and I'll catch up with you next week.
All right.
Chat
talk
next
soon.
week.